Greenland. It's very cold.
Yes, extremely cold.
You learned that the hard way.
But beautiful.
It is, yeah. Op-ed from MSNBC, not that anybody really cares about MSNBC, but it said an invasion of Greenland could actually happen. What are we doing in Greenland? What's the...
Look, it's very simple. I think Americans, by the way, don't fully realize how important this is to our own security. Yeah. So all of the missile defense that we have depends on having a presence in Greenland, because you think, God forbid, if somebody fires a missile at us, it's going to come over the Arctic. We need to have the visibility of what's going on there. And look, Denmark, which of course controls Greenland right now, they've really underinvested in the infrastructure and in the security of Greenland. The president, what he said, of course the media attacks it, but it's very common sense. It's, look, this matters to our security, this matters to our missile defense, and we're going to protect America's interests come hell or high water.
And it seems pretty clear that the people of Greenland want to get away from Denmark.
Right.
Did you get the feeling that they are open to being a part of the United States in some fashion? Or I mean, what do you...
I think the first step, they've made it very clear that they want to be independent of Denmark. Now, there's a worry there. The thing that I picked up on is they get about $60,000 a year from the government of Denmark. That's $60,000 per year per person in Greenland. What the president has said is we could give the people of Greenland way more money than that, again, because the security matters to the United States of America. But yeah, I think they want to be independent from Denmark, and then once they do that, we can have a conversation about the relationship we'll have with the United States and Greenland.
You gave a speech in Munich near the beginning of all of this. It was, I thought, one of the best speeches I've ever heard.
Well,
especially on a foreign land. Anything like that, and we were actually just talking about it before we sat down. But you know, the NATO breakfast that Trump had back in, I think, 2018 was another one of those moments where you just kind of given them what they deserve, what they need to hear. I want to play just a little bit of that. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Sure.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within, the retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values, values shared with the United States of America. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them.
We just saw this week Marine Le Pen, in France. You have a court. This is the same thing they do. Bolsonaro, Trump, Le Pen, the guy in Pakistan, the guy in Romania. You got all these, Georgescu. We see this over and over again. They're going to try and throw her in prison. They're not going to let her run. She's leading in some polls to be the next president of France.
Leading in some polls, and over an incredibly minor charge that implicates, by the way, her staff, not even Marine Le Pen herself. They're trying to throw her in prison and throw her off the ballot. Look, that's not democracy. And my point to Europe, you know, the European press has said this is an anti-Europe speech. I actually think it's a pro-Europe speech. We love Europe. We love European people. Of course, it's so important culturally in the world. And also, you know, America came from Europe fundamentally. But we have to appreciate that the greatest threat to Europe is not, you know, China or Russia. The greatest threat to Europe is from within. It's migration policies that destroy the fundamental cultural bedrock of Europe. It's economic policies that make them less competitive. It's national security policies. I mean, these guys, on the one hand, their leadership I'm talking about, say that Russia is the biggest threat in the entire world. Meanwhile, they buy billions and billions of dollars of Russian gas, and they spend 1% of their GDP on defense, while we're spending 3 or 4% of our GDP. The rhetoric in Europe just doesn't match the reality.
And then they act like Russia.
They
start throwing away people they don't like.
And they start trying to throw presidential candidates and political leaders off the ballot. Look, that is not good. It's not good for Europe. It's not good for the United States of America. We want our friends to share our values, and the Europeans, they are absolutely 100% our friends. But that relationship, we're just saying, it's going to get stressed and it's going to get tested if they keep on trying to throw opposition leaders in jail and they stop respecting their own borders. Because here's the thing: if Europe disrespects its own borders, if you have, you know, a Syrian national with terrorist ties who gets into Germany, we know that doesn't stop in Germany. Eventually, people start to make their way all across the world. National borders are in the interest of everybody, certainly of Europe and the United States.
3 firings, the report today, 3 firings of the National Security Council. Some are saying it had to do with a meeting with Laura Loomer and maybe There's 3 that were in there that are, rabidly anti-Trump, that are trying to undermine the agenda. What can you tell us about that?
Well, look, the president wants people around who are smart, who are competent, and who are helping him implement the agenda. The president just decided those folks, they can be good people, but that they weren't helping his agenda. So he's going to hire the people who do. It's very simple. Look, I think the media focuses on these personnel questions. The president's asking a much simpler question: who helps me the most? And if we don't have the right people in there, he's going to get them in there. By the way, Rob, this is so different from the Biden administration, where the Biden administration would not get rid of anybody. They would not force anyone to suffer any consequences. All the president is saying is, I want my own team, and I want the right team around me.
Understood. Got 2 more for you.
Yeah.
Bill Maher has called Donald Trump at one point or another an a-hole, a whiny little bee, a criminal, a pervert. He has dinner with the president and Kid Rock and Dana White.
Yep.
Everyone wants to know what that dinner was like. I'm not expecting you to give me any color. I don't know if you even know. But what does it say to you that the president invited Bill Maher to come join him for dinner as the president of the United States? That just shocked a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I'll let the president talk about his dinner that he had with Bill Maher. He did talk to me about it, and it sounds like it was a fun time. But I think, first of all, what it shows is, despite the media accusations against President Trump, he is actually an incredibly forgiving guy. He's a person who's very generous of spirit. And even if you've attacked him or criticized him, that's not going to prevent him from having a conversation with you.
Did they leave us as friends? I mean, did it end on a good note?
I don't know if they left as friends, but they definitely, the president said he had a really good time. He enjoyed sitting down with him. And again, that's just who the president is. I mean, you know him, I know him. He likes to talk to a wide range of people, whether they agree with him or not, whether they've attacked him or not. The president will break bread with anybody.
I love that. Finally, you're 40 years old, I believe.
I am.
Have that right?
I am.
You're very young. And you're in the White House. And I mean, we're the same age. I just want to ask you, I mean, how surreal is that to just be in this environment at a very young age, I would say?
Yeah, man, it's a blessing. And I just try to remember that every single day that I get to do this job, it's the coolest job in the world. I get to serve under President Trump's leadership in solving problems that I've cared about. Some of these problems I've seen in my own hometown since I was a little kid. And now I'm at the White House getting to work on those problems with the guy that I think is the best president that we've had in centuries in this country. So it's a great blessing. It's a great honor. But yeah, man, I pinch myself every single day. You know, the first time I walked into the Oval Office, the first time ever, was the day after I was inaugurated as vice president with the Speaker of the House and the President of the United States. And it's really cool. We've got a great team from the junior staff on up. It's a great thing. And what I try to remind myself on, because of course, you know, the media attacks you, and some days you have, you know, long moments at the office. I just try to remind myself every single day that it's a blessing to get to serve. It's a really cool job. I get to work on things that I really care about. I get to solve problems for people that I love. What more could you ask for in a job? So it's an honor to do it.
That's great. Hey, thank you.
Good to see you, man.
Very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good to see you. You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.